Where to start after everything that came out of Watkins Glen? Because this honestly feels like one of those NASCAR weekends where the racing almost became secondary to the drama happening underneath the surface. And the crazy part is that we've actually got two huge stories to talk about today that have fans all over the garage arguing right now. One of them involves a veteran superstar who looked like he was physically and emotionally reaching a breaking point during the race itself. And what was heard over the team radio honestly caught a lot of people off guard. And the second story. That one has fans absolutely furious at NASCAR after new footage surfaced showing a violent wreck that somehow didn't even bring out a caution. Seriously, once people saw the onboard angle that Fox barely showed on the broadcast, the reaction online completely exploded. And what makes both of these stories feel connected is that they shine a light on something fans have been talking about more and more lately. The pressure, the frustration, the intensity, and honestly, the chaos surrounding NASCAR right now as we get deeper into this season. There's tension in the garage, drivers are losing patience, fans are questioning decisions. And after Watkins Glen, it really feels like emotions are starting to boil over everywhere. So we've got a lot to break down today. But before we jump in, if you love real NASCAR conversations like this and want daily coverage from fans who genuinely live this sport every single week, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. The channel's still new, we're pushing toward 15,000 subscribers, and honestly, it'd be awesome to have you here early as part of this community from the beginning. The first big story has to be Kyle Busch, because even though he finally had one of his best runs of the entire season at Watkins Glen, the conversation after the race wasn't really about the finish itself. It was about what fans heard over the radio and what it might say about where Kyle Busch mentally and physically is right now. During the final stage of the Go Bowling at Watkins Glen race, Busch suddenly came over the radio and asked his Richard Childress racing team to find Dr. William Heisel after the race. And the way he said it immediately got people worried because there was no joking around in his voice at all. He sounded calm, serious, exhausted, and honestly, kind of drained. He told the team, "Can somebody try to find Will Heisel? He's the kindred doctor guy. Tell him I need him after the race, please." NBC reporter Dustin Long later confirmed the radio message and explained that Dr. William Heisel has worked extensively with NASCAR teams, drivers, and pit crew members for years. At first, nobody really knew what was going on, and because this is Kyle Busch we're talking about, fans immediately started wondering if something bigger was happening physically. Then, FS1 later clarified that Busch had apparently been dealing with a pretty rough sinus illness all weekend and needed a shot after the race because he was feeling terrible physically during the event. And honestly, when you think about how hard that Watkins Glen race was, it actually makes his performance even more impressive. Kyle Busch started all the way back in 21st. The number 8 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet was not dominant early. In fact, Busch finished Stage 1 outside the top 20 and looked like he might just be fighting for another average finish in what has already been an incredibly frustrating season. But then, things started changing. During Stage 2, Busch and the RCR team finally found some speed, made adjustments to the car, and started climbing through the field. He managed to finish 5th in the stage and picked up desperately needed points. Then, in the final stage, strategy and fuel saving helped him stay inside the top 10 while other drivers started fading. By the end of the race, Kyle Busch brought the number 8 Chevrolet home in 8th place, which became his best finish of the entire NASCAR Cup Series season and his best result since finishing inside the top 5 at Phoenix last year. And hearing that after battling sickness all weekend honestly makes the run feel even tougher. After the race, Busch said, "Strong day for the No. 8-zone Jalapeno Lime Chevrolet team. We were a top 10 car for the majority of the race and ended 8th here at Watkins Glen International." Then he added, "We made the adjustments and strategy calls we needed to drive forward and make up track position after qualifying 21st, despite battling a car that trended tight throughout the race. We ran out of fuel at the end of the race, but we're still going home with our second top 10 finish of the season." Now, but here's where this story becomes much bigger than just a driver being sick during a race weekend. Inside the NASCAR garage, there's growing belief that the tension between Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing is reaching a dangerous point emotionally. And honestly, if you've watched this season closely, you can kind of feel it every single week now. Kyle Busch has had multiple emotional radio meltdowns this year. We saw frustration explode at Martinsville. We saw the incident involving John Hunter Nemechek at Texas. We've heard the anger on the radio over setups, speed, strategy, and mistakes. And now, after Watkins Glen, people are starting to connect everything together. Because during his prime years with Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyle Busch's emotional radio traffic usually ended with victories. He could scream at the team for 3 hours and then still end up standing in victory lane. That was just classic Rowdy. But now, the wins aren't there. And when the trophies disappear, the frustration starts looking very different. There are also reports that some people inside Richard Childress Racing are becoming emotionally exhausted with the constant tension surrounding the number 8 team. Nobody publicly is attacking anybody right now, but there's clearly pressure building on both sides. And this is where things get uncomfortable for NASCAR fans to talk about. Kyle Busch is 41 years old now. He's still incredibly talented. Nobody questions that. But fans and insiders are starting to ask whether the years of pressure, frustration, and non-stop intensity are beginning to wear him down physically and mentally. Kevin Harvick recently suggested Busch may not have many strong options outside of Richard Childress Racing moving forward, which honestly adds even more pressure to this situation because it means this partnership almost has to work. That's why Watkins Glen felt so emotional to watch. On one side, you saw flashes of the old Kyle Busch again. Smart race management, great road course driving, climbing through the field, battling through pain and sickness, finishing 8th after starting 21st. But on the other side, you also saw a veteran driver who sounds exhausted, a driver carrying frustration every single week, a driver trying desperately to stop the spiral before this season completely slips away. And honestly, as NASCAR fans, it's weird seeing Kyle Busch in this position because for so many years, he was the guy everybody feared. He was the guy that could ruin everybody's day at any moment. Now it feels like every decent finish turns into a conversation about pressure, tension, contracts, and uncertainty about the future. And speaking of NASCAR fans being furious after Watkins Glen, the second story today has completely exploded online because people cannot believe NASCAR never threw a caution for Cody Ware's massive crash late in the race. This whole thing started with about 10 laps remaining when Cody Ware was running behind Ricky Stenhouse Jr. exiting Turn 7. Suddenly, Ware lost control and slammed head-on into the infield tire barrier in a brutal impact. And the scary part wasn't just the first hit. The impact sent Ware's car violently spinning back toward the track, and new footage posted online later appeared to show the Armco barrier behind the tires actually getting damaged from how hard the crash was. But somehow, NASCAR never threw a caution. And once fans saw the onboard footage that Fox barely even showed during the broadcast, reactions online immediately went crazy. People were posting things like, "How did the yellow not come out? That should have been a caution." But you shocked that wasn't a yellow. And honestly, a lot of fans were also furious at Fox for barely showing the crash at all during the live broadcast. The broadcast only briefly showed Ware's damaged car sitting off to the side for a split second. There was basically no replay. No deep look at the impact, no real explanation. And once the onboard angles surfaced later online, fans started calling it another terrible broadcasting moment from Fox NASCAR. Some people even said the wreck looked more violent than incidents earlier in the race that actually did bring out cautions. Now, to be fair, Cody Ware was eventually able to limp the car back to the garage under green, and NASCAR probably felt the situation was under control enough to keep the race going. Plus, late in the race, there were also spins involving Bubba Wallace and Josh Berry that somehow stayed green as well because both drivers kept moving. But this is where fans get frustrated with NASCAR consistency. Because every single week, it feels like people are arguing about cautions. One week, NASCAR throws yellows that fans think are unnecessary. The next week, fans are screaming because a massive hit somehow stays green. And Watkins Glen became another example of that disconnect between NASCAR officiating and fan expectations. Meanwhile, all of this chaos happened during another unbelievable road course performance from Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG absolutely put on a clinic once again and won the race for Trackhouse Racing after another masterful drive at Watkins Glen. And honestly, watching him on road courses right now feels like watching a specialist completely destroy some of the best drivers in the world in their own sport. After the race, Van Gisbergen said, "Unbelievable to win with 97. Yeah, super cheap Chevy was great. Thank you to Trackhouse. We weren't very good in practice. And then qualifying was amazing. Good tweaks, and then today, so what a race car." Then he praised crew chief Stephen Doran for the strategy calls that helped them run down the leaders late. And honestly, that's another storyline people are talking about after Watkins Glen too. Shane Van Gisbergen is starting to look terrifying whenever NASCAR goes to a road course now. But overall, this entire weekend just felt emotionally intense from every angle. You had Kyle Busch battling sickness while dealing with non-stop pressure surrounding his future with Richard Childress Racing. You had fans questioning NASCAR officiating after Cody Ware's frightening crash somehow stayed green. You had Fox getting blasted online for missing key moments during the race broadcast. You had tempers boiling over all over the garage area again. And you can just feel how tense this season is becoming as the pressure keeps building deeper into the year. Because at this point, every race feels bigger now. Every mistake feels bigger. Every emotional radio message becomes a headline. Every caution decision becomes a debate online for days. And honestly, that's part of what makes NASCAR so addictive right now. The emotions are real. The pressure is real. And after Watkins Glen, it feels like everybody inside this sport is operating at full intensity. So, now I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing can still turn this thing around? Was NASCAR right to keep the race green after Cody Ware's crash? And are fans right to be angry at Fox for barely showing the incident live? Drop your thoughts down in the comments because I know NASCAR fans are going to have strong opinions about all of this. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. We're still a growing channel trying to hit 15,000 subscribers, and if you enjoy honest daily NASCAR conversations from real fans who live this sport every week, we'd love to have you here with us from the beginning.